Hello everybody, welcome to another weekly market news. Today is Monday, the last day of November, and we are experiencing at the last day of November quite a slump on stock indices around the world. Chinese stock indices and Chinese stocks are holding on pretty good because there were some data from manufacturing sector which is looking quite good, and other markets are also reacting. But the US stock indices on the futures and European stock indices are quite in a slump in the beginning of the week. Let's look how they are performing and how was the last week looking for stock indices. We are looking right now at S&P 500. We can see the Monday session, we talked about this. There was a huge news from AstraZeneca, another biotechnological company that is coming with their own vaccine and their own effectiveness of vaccine, which might as well get approved in a week or two, as U.S. military and government is right now working on approval, at least from two biotechnological companies. So whether it is AstraZeneca, Pfizer, or Moderna, one of those vaccines will probably get approved until the end of this year, and then will be distributed to probably firstly the people that need it the most. But like I said, S&P 500 was very good. There was a very nice positive risk on sentiment on the markets. It was not seen only on stock indices, but at the other markets as well. But S&P 500, it rose and closed above their previous record high. There were other records on Dow Jones, which which closed for the first time above 30,000 points. So we can see the positive sentiment is looking quite good here. Obviously, the vaccine news and the presidential kind of positivity, as Trump, for the first time last week, said that if Electoral College of voters will declare as a winner Donald Trump, he will accept it, and he obviously he this week let the Joe Biden administration start the process with Donald Trump's administration about the presidential move and the procedure where Donald Trump is going to leave the White House. So quite a positive news from the markets. You can see S&P 500, like I said, were on the rise, as well as European indices, and DAX. DAX was in quite a slump, but was able to retreat the losses. S&P 500 is still under pressure a little bit. The risk on sentiment was obviously seen at the Forex, as euro was hugely driven by weakening US dollar. Right now, euro is edging closer and closer to 120, which we will probably break pretty soon. So there will be another milestone for Euro USD in this third quarter, in this fourth quarter actually. And so the risk on is obviously seen at these markets. Last week was also very good for oil. Oil was able to break 43, 44, $45 a barrel, WTI American oil, and this week is looking a little bit different. We will talk about this in a second, but overall positive sentiment and the expectation that the OPEC will probably extend its production cuts drove the price of oil above $45 a barrel. You can see we closed the highest in like 9 months. Highest since the beginning of March, so the beginning of the huge slump on oil. So there's an overall a very positive sentiment, although we are quite cautious about the oil, because as the Sunday came and Monday will come, there are other meetings from OPEC Plus and the energy ministers. And right now we are looking ahead and we are waiting for some confirmations if whether the production cuts will be extended, because from the beginning of the next year there is expected to be 1.9 million barrels a day more at the markets, which could drive the market to the surplus again and put pressure on price of oil if the agreement is not there at the place. But I think investors are quite positive about this, and they believe that probably the production cuts will be extended by another 3 months. So that's what's happening right now on oil. Another market where we could see the huge risk on sentiment, and possibly another drive of let's say riskier assets obviously drove the sentiment out of gold. So gold right now is experiencing some losses from last week, even extending these losses at the beginning of this week. We can see it tested 1800, the key level, which got broken now. We are still heading downwards. We probably will see how the markets will play out this day, but as if we will close above the level where we are right now, we can expect another like a pullback to this area and probably another downwards movement on gold, as the risks on the markets are not still there. Another key L level is probably right here, the area of previous support. So that's what is happening at the gold market. Obviously, another Monday session that is very volatile at the Forex. You can see USD JPY. It's moving up and down. Another markets are also quite volatile at the beginning of this week. USD CAD gained a little bit, as last week was, like I said, positive for oil, and GBP USD is quite choppy. Not really any significant trend and any significant moves here, as we are still waiting for a resolve for some kind of outcome from the Brexit negotiations, as we still have not reached a deal and agreement about the future of relationships between EU and UK. So that's what we are waiting for this week. Again, we are waiting for oil and OPEC decision. We are also waiting for S&P 500. We are waiting for some other major news about the presidency, the election, obviously the vaccine and the positive sentiment. It will keep up with the markets for another week, and maybe we can see we will see extension of the previous highs, maybe closing another record, or technical correction is probably due as well. Same thing about Bitcoin. It reached almost 20,000 last week and then retreated about $2,000 to $3,000. So there's a huge, again, correction as well. So same thing can happen on the stock markets this week. Let's look at the macroeconomic news, what we can expect this week and what we probably should not miss out. Monday should be quite quiet. Tuesday, we do not expect any major news from the US, but we expect from Australia interest rate decisions from RBA, then a manufacturing PMI from several countries from Eurozone. Rest of the day, ISM manufacturing PMI. There will be testimony of Jerome Powell from Federal Reserve Bank. Another speech from Christine Lagarde. There's a bunch of them this week, like last week, like any other week. But we are kind of used to the fact that this doesn't have an effect on the market. So that's what's happening on Tuesday. On Wednesday, we have ADP unemployment change in US, stock exchange in US, Fed Chairman Powell testimony, another one at 4 p.m. on Thursday. There are other PMIs from several countries from Eurozone and Europe. This will be very closely watched to see how the economic recovery is going and how probably it's not going so well, as we still are quite in a big slump, and there is expected to be a correction of GDP from in Eurozone in the fourth quarter. So on Thursday, we also have a service sector PMI from US. So this will be mostly about the PMIs. We'll see how the purchasing managers see really the recovery in their sector. And Friday, this will be probably the most interesting day, as we are expecting job data from US. So you can see non-farm payrolls. Probably we'll see how the unemployment is looking, and other very important news from job market in the US and as well in Canada. So USD CAD, there will be some very interesting moves. The pandemic is still one of the key points for the markets, as we are moving further in restrictions. For example, in Germany, in Czech Republic, in the US, there are closed bars. In California, restaurants. So another restrictions are coming in. We will see how this thing will play out this week. You can see there is a decrease in new cases at the end of the last week, but the weekend usually has lower numbers. So we will see if this next week will set the trend for decreasing new cases, or this is just the anomaly and we will see another rise towards the 200,000 cases per day level. European situation got a little bit better. It's not really something that we should celebrate as right now, but there are several countries are losing their restrictions. For example, Czech Republic, for example, France, for example, Spain or Italy are getting less strict as they are moving the economy towards the expansion for the Christmas time. So that will be it for today's video. If you have any questions, leave it down in the comment section below the video, and I will see you next week.